Hello everyone, Professor Cynic here. Respawn released a patch today for Apex Legends that increased the ring damage in Elite Queue, and it is absolutely asinine. Let me give you the quick rundown based on the Reddit post. This is what they had to say. Hey all, this is making its way live now on all platforms. In an attempt to curb behavior of camping outside the circle to wait out the match and get the top 5 in Apex Elite Queue, we're trying to increase the damage caused by being outside the circle in the Apex Elite Queue only. First circle now does 15% damage per tick. Second circle now does 20% damage per tick. Remaining circles now do 25% damage per tick. Now, what do these numbers mean? For reference, let's take a look at ring damage before the patch. I got these numbers courtesy of 7.ws. I've never been there before. But here's the little chart they had, and I verified it with some other sites, and it looks like it's accurate. So round 1 used to do 1 damage per tick. Round 2 used to do 2 damage per tick. 3 and 4 did 5 damage per tick, and then 5 through 8 did 10. Now let's do a little bit of quick math here, shall we? For the first ring, we went from 1 to 15 per tick. That is a 1,400% increase in ring damage. Not 40, not 400, 1,400%. Ring 2, we went from 2 to 20 damage. That is a 900% increase in damage per tick. You're hearing this right, 900%. And for rings 3 and 4, we went from 5 to 25 per tick. That's a 400% increase. And for rings 5 to 8, we went from 10 to 25 per tick, which is a 150% increase in storm damage. I don't even know what to say. And this is how I found out about it, by the way. And as I'm hearing, a lot of people found out this way. I hit the drop on my first Elite queue today. One of my favorite spots to drop with my squad is Swamp. I drop here with the knowledge that there's usually plenty of good loot, and typically you encounter maybe a squad or two, depending on where the airship went. So my squad goes through a regular routine. We methodically hit each house, and we do take on one squad. We take them out, and we continue on. Then the storm starts to creep in. Okay, no biggie. We've encountered this before. We're used to being kind of far away from where the next ring is going to be by dropping in Swamp. Usually it seems to be pretty far away from there. But we can take a bit of damage and heal our way through the storm and push into the eye onto the next one. And then, like a Thanos snap, my entire squad is just gone. We all die in the storm. The first ring, mind you. We assume there's a glitch or something, and we look online and find out that there was a damage increase. I know for a fact that a lot of other teams didn't catch this change either, because in my second game after the first ring, there were 5 squads left after the first ring. You heard that right. 5 squads left after the very first ring. 15 squads gone. This comes as such a shock, mostly because Respawn has stated previously how they want to make changes at a steady pace in order to not, shake the game up too much with one change. It's not like a direct quote, but they've made statements along those lines before. And then they dropped this bomb of 1,400% increase in first ring damage. I absolutely do not understand it. And let me explain why this is a problem. So first off, yes, I want to say I do agree that there was a problem with people camping in the storm in order to stay safe and keep their streak alive. Something needed to be done about this. I understand that, because if you're doing that you're not really winning based on skill. You're just, you're holding out for as long as you can, and that doesn't necessarily take skill. It takes a little bit of luck and placement. So I'm in total agreement that something needed to be done about this. I get it. So with that in mind, here's the problem. This change in regular queuing in Apex and Elite queuing, a totally different game. You are playing different games. You cannot I mean cannot play even close to the same way that you would in regular as you would now have to in Elite. Let's do a quick example here. Let's say my squad drops at water treatment, a pretty common place to drop, and let's say the airship is taking this path. Okay, at this point, it's pretty clear that my squad isn't taking a passive approach and trying to wait out other teams. We're clearly going to an area where other squads may drop at. We land at water treatment. We discover that 2 other squads have also landed here. We get into a 3-team fight. Sometimes these can carry on for quite some time, but my squad emerges victorious. After the fight, we begin looting bins and try to loot out the rest of the location we're in. Now, I doubt anyone at this point would accuse us of trying to storm camp to reach top 5. No, we just ran straight into a fight with 2 other teams. The next ring placement is over here. Normally this wouldn't be an issue, but because of the ring damage, we have to move. Like now. At this point, our team had the unfortunate luck of only finding 1 level 2 body shield and 2 level 1 body shields. We have decent enough weapons, but very little consumables. We start to sprint. Now, we take this path knowing that we can hit the buildings on the way to hopefully improve our situation, at least modestly, for the next ring. And so normally, that's what we would do. Loot the houses along the way, and perhaps take a minor amount of storm damage. But that's the problem. We have 0 time to loot. We need to be moving like 2 minutes ago. Along the way, we essentially have 0 time for looting. We can hit a house here and there on the way, but we can't fully loot it. You cannot stop. One of our guys falls behind just a little bit, and he gets knocked in the storm. And we absolutely cannot go back for him. We have to forge ahead, because syringes in the storm are now useless. By the time you're done popping one, you've lost more health than you've gained. So we are now permanently down 1 player. The remaining squad mate and I barely get out of the storm. But our buddy who died? Yeah, he had the level 2 body shield, so now we're a duo squad with very mediocre gear. And now we have to think about getting to the next ring, because guess what? We aren't close to it again. Oh, and did I mention that there's only now 5 squads left? Yep, 5 squads left after the first ring. So now we have almost no squads present in a relatively gigantic ring. So we start to rush the ring because again, we're so far out that we have 0 time to loot. We make it to the next ring somehow. We encounter a full squad, and against all odds, we take them out. But guess what? They don't have any better loot than we did, because they had to do the exact same thing as us, sprint for dear life, not spend a moment looting. So with 4 squads left, we're in no better position than we were before. Eventually, we fall to a full squad who is far better equipped than we were. And why did I use this example? Because this is roughly what happened to me during a game today. And essentially what happened every game I played. What I discovered after this round is that with the new update, all fringe towns are completely off limits if you want to have the best chance to win. Why? Well, because unless Lady Luck is smiling on you and the ring lands right over your fringe town, you're toast because you'll have no time to loot. So even if you do make it to the ring, you'll have no gear. And if you do spend time to loot thoroughly, you're almost certainly going to die in the ring. Which means you are forced to land somewhere here, because if you don't, you're probably going to be too far away from the ring to be able to rush there without dying. And my question is, why did they think that such a colossal increase in storm damage would fix this? Now, we have an entirely different problem. After the first ring, most squads are dead already, and now you've got this gigantic ring, relatively speaking, with like 5 squads running around in it trying to find people to shoot, many of them with crappy gear. They've taken one problem and replaced it with the other, like introducing Asian beetles to eat aphids, but now you've got Asian beetles urinating all over your curtains and biting at small children. Sure, you can't camp the ring anymore, but now if you make it past the first ring, luck plays into it more than anything. Did you happen upon a squad that got lucky on the drop and found 3 level 3 shields while you found a stockpile of Mozambiques? Well, screw you. This is elite mode, baby. And that's the biggest problem I have with this update. Now, luck is a bigger factor than ever. Before, the game leaned a lot more towards skill. Because if you survived all of your first ring fights, you had a good chance of getting into the second ring. Now it's a crapshoot. In fact, it's bad to get into lengthy fights on the drop because it eats up way too much time. And if you aren't close to the storm, now you have to rush your team after emerging victorious. You are being punished for being an aggressive team with a high level of gunfighting skills. So to recap, you are being punished if you're passive and camp the fringes because the storm will eat you alive. And you're being punished if you're being aggressive and getting into fights that eat up any amount of time because you're still going to get eaten by the storm. Apparently, Respawn doesn't want you to use like half the map they created. Is this what they want? They want no one dropping on the fringe towns, and the final fights of the game are between squads with like level 1 body shields and unkitted G7 scouts. Is that what they want? Because that's what's happening. I'm so incredibly frustrated with this update. It just doesn't make sense to me. Because I think the thing is, they've been so careful with the balancing of the game up to this point. Like bordering on the lines of like masterful balance, in my opinion. But this just takes a shotgun blast to the horse's mouth because it had a slight lip. 1400%. Absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, I agree, something needed to be done about the camping. I get that, but why not make it like a 3 damage increase? 5 damage per tick even in that first ring. Something slightly less severe, but they went the full 1400%. 1400. And the result is that regular queue plays completely different than elite. You aren't playing the same game. Period. You aren't playing the same game. So all I have to say about this is it better get fixed. It better get fixed and fast. Otherwise, I'm done with Apex. I'm not even joking. I did not have fun playing Apex at all with this update. And I've put, for reference, I've put several hundred hours into Apex. I will drop this game if it stays like that because I was not enjoying it whatsoever. I'm going to give them a little bit of time. Okay, Respawn on the whole seems like they've been listening to their fans, so I'll give them some time. You know, hopefully they hear the feedback and wheel this back a little bit. Maybe increase it, like I said, maybe up to 5 or something. But they've got to do it relatively soon here. It wasn't a good experience. So, Respawn, I hope you figure it out. And then until next time, stay cynical.